gentle smile, standing right there in front of me in this sparkling blues touched my heart and my soul. Diffused and recharged, peace once again. A scent frequent meeting as the whole atmosphere changed, enveloped in breathing as the morning awakens, and that is shining down me with the jewels of your light. A soft and beautiful voice woke me up this morning. Om Shanti, good morning. A very warm welcome to this session. Topic: Revealing Baba through maintaining faith in the family. And we all know the importance of faith, and especially Baba underlines the importance of having faith in the family. And who other than our speakers who have more than 4 to 5 decades of experience with Baba and BK family are going to shed more light on it. We have Sister Morni from Yarna Valley Village Retreat Center, Australia. And she's also a member of Regional Coordinating Team, Asia Pacific. Over 5 decades, she has stayed in different centers, different country, with different capacity. She has worked with Baba's family, different cultures and sanskars. So you know she has developed the faith in Baba's family. And we have Sister Gopi from France, and she was the National Coordinating Team France. Now she's in Bungalow Center, Australia. She has also served over a decade in Cambodia, and she has more than 4 decades of rich experience with Baba and family. So I have a very warm welcome to Sister Morni and Sister Gopi, and also the audience who are present here and who are watching online. Thank you. Om Shanti.
So this is going to be a conversation, and we've known each other for 40 years, so it's really lovely to be here together.
And actually the title, which is connected with faith, was an inspiration we had after we heard a Morni a few weeks ago. And it was, Baba was speaking about faith, and we were thinking, okay, faith, often Baba would speak about different faiths. And we thought, okay, faith in the family, where does it go? You know, so we thought, let's take this subject. And so I'm just going to start by asking Morni, what is faith for you?
You know, sometimes in the Morni we hear the word faith, but sometimes it's meaning different things. It can mean trust, it can mean being faithful, like loyal. It also sometimes means obedience, which does require faith. But I think, just as Bob was saying in the Morni, in the Avyakt Morni, we need to have realization with the intellect, not just with the intellect, but put it into our form. And I think faith can be, you know, to a certain extent in the intellect, but not in practical. So I think faith is really when we don't worry at all. And the story that comes to mind is when Brahma Baba, we've all heard that story in the Murli. There was 300 over people to feed, no money, no food, but his stage didn't fluctuate. He really had that faith that Baba is there, this is Baba's family, it's Baba's task, and a check came in the mail. And they went, cashed the check, bought some food, all was well. But the amazing thing was for the mind not to fluctuate. So ultimately, that's the ultimate faith. And for you, Gopi, what are some of the signs of faith?
Actually, I had an experience this morning. I was sitting in the history hall for Amrit Vela in Pandav Bhavan. And whenever I sit in the history hall, and I am in front of that picture of Baba, what comes to my mind is Baba has the carefree emperor. And for me, faith is very much connected with that stage of being a carefree emperor. It's also connected, when I think of faith, it's connected with the surrender, total surrender. And lately I have been really kind of challenged, and I thought, well, very good, because this is very much a test of surrender, which is also a test of faith. So whenever I think about the aspect of what does it mean faith, and yes, Baba speak about faith in the intellect, which means based on understanding, based on clarity, based on not just, oh yeah, I have faith because I am experiencing something, but it's deeper than that. I also understand what's happening, and I try to always see, behind or beyond what it seems. And so somehow, I go back to the aspect of the carefree emperor and practicing that stage. And also because faith somehow is the foundation of our own life as a Brahmin. And often Baba speaks about, you've got the faith of bhakti, the blind faith, and what kind of faith do I have? So I also need to see, to what extent the type of faith I have is it a bit of a connected still with bhakti, or is it really like based on that faith that Baba is asking us to develop and to have? And so Morni, we are getting this inspiration from another Murli about faith, and Baba is actually saying, if there is faith, there is humility. And with humility, the soul is creative. So how does faith and humility make the soul creative?
Yeah, it's a very wonderful point, isn't it? How if there is faith, there will be humility, because we are the instruments. But then when we're humble, Baba was saying, we will be creative. And to me what comes to mind is that so many people in the world today are in survival mode. If we don't have faith and we think we have to look after ourselves, we go into survival. And when we go into survival, we're very selfish in a way, because survival means I have to look after myself. So if I have that faith and I can come out of that survival state, then I can be creative. Because creativity is opposite to that survival state. And also, Baba says that your one step of courage will bring 1,000-fold help from Baba. And this is what I have put to the test over and over again. I take on things that are too big for me, that I cannot do. Maybe it's silly or a bit blind in that sense, but I've really experienced that when I do something with that faith that, okay, I'll take this step and Baba will do the rest, it's like a miracle what Baba does. I mean, I could tell you so many stories, but just one was when I first was on service in Hong Kong. I was about 25 years old, and I didn't know the country, I didn't know the language. I'd been there about a year, but there was an inspiration to have an Asian women's convention. So we invited people from all over Asia, and we had a conference, and I was so innocent, went to invite people to come, and invited too many people, and they all said yes. And they were big VIPs. So then, okay, we have to have it for 3 days, not 1 day. I mean, never organized a conference before and didn't know how to look after overseas guests. It was really a miracle how Baba sent people to help, and people had a house, and, drivers and helpers, like domestic helpers. And don't even ask me where the money came from. 3 days in a 5-star hotel. And in the middle, myself and this other sister was helping me. She was younger and less experienced. And in the middle, we said, did we organize this? Like it was just going like a dream and perfectly. And we said, did we organize this? It was like that. So when there's that faith, I think we can do anything. So, and that makes us creative, because we don't think, the opposite is like, oh, how can we do this? We don't have money, we don't have this, we don't have that. But just, creativity, I think, also comes from being that instrument and catching, and then going with it. And I do check, of course, with the seniors, because, they're big things, but somehow they say yes, because they have faith, and miracles happen. So Gopi, from that same Muli, which was 27th of December 87, Baba also said, with faith, you will be ignorant of the knowledge of desires. Icha mantra mavidya. You'll be ignorant of the knowledge of desires, and this will make you generous. And when you are in this state, it'll always be you first. That's generosity. You first. How does this impact the family when we have that faith, so we don't feel this survival, so we're generous, and because of that, you first? What is the impact on our family with that state of faith?
Actually, there is, I was thinking of Arjuna, and I need to know when to say you first and when to say me first. And the me first is Arjuna, is the one who actually decides to make the effort. And so he would be the one who change first. So in that sense, that would be me first. And the you first is when it comes to giving opportunities. And I think, often Baba say, remember your days of your childhood. And if I have to think of my own spiritual childhood, I had very strong motivation. One was, no matter what, let me have good wishes. And I started, in France, in Paris, when the center was very small, and we were all young. We were all young in Gyan as well, so there was nobody experienced with us. And there were, a lot of different personalities, and some of them were very strong. Especially the brothers had very strong personalities. And the sisters, they were just too young, or they were young, so they were trying to find their way. And there was no Didi, Nadi Janki was in London, but we didn't have her. like as, a permanent teacher. But we would definitely go to London very often. But something I felt is because of the way, the situation and everything, I just always thought, I don't want to, to see that I go into conflicts and things. So for me to have really good wishes was the big thing. And so whenever I would feel there are things going on and strong sanskars and conflict and things, I would just go and sit in Baba's room and I would just think, okay, let me not keep anything in my head and just merge everything. Just make sure I don't keep anything, any ill feeling, any... And it was a real effort. I was making like a conscious effort not to keep any bad feeling. And the other thing which was very strong in me, because also listening to Daddy's class, I grew up with Daddy Janki, influence, very strong influence. And something which was important to me was I should not be an obstacle for anyone. And it's not simple, but this is like I should not be someone who does not allow somebody else to move ahead, even if they have to move ahead of me, even if I see them, like when you see a race and you see the young ones running, and then you see them, they just go in front of you, and am I happy to see that? And for me it was really like, yes, let's just see things. I mean, I was young anyway, and I was the youngest one.
How old were
Physically, I was 17 when I started. So, and in the big case, the France was starting. It was a different time. But I just realized how this foundation had been so important in my own Brahmin growth, to actually make sure that first I am not an obstacle and I will allow others to grow or to go first, to go ahead. And the other thing, keep good wishes and pure feelings. And I have seen over time how it helped, because we say how it impacts the family, but I can say how it did impact me in my own, kind of spiritual journey. And it's very much the attitude of being happy for others. So I really let go of, comparison and thinking, oh, why this one has something and I don't have it myself. It's so easy to go into small things and to just, be unhappy or non-satisfied because I do have expectation of, a position and I can see, to be free from that is just such a blessing, because no matter what, it's God knows. I don't know others, but He knows me, and so He will do whatever He wants with me. And I think in terms of making the family grow in a healthy way, to develop those qualities and to just have that generosity of heart. And it will just make the family stronger, and it will make me also stronger. I don't need to be, in front. I just need to be in the place which is the right place for me. And Baba is taking care of that. And for the rest, it's really like, keeping that attitude of generosity and being happy about other people's, other souls, opportunities. So I think this is a key. We speak about revelation and Baba's revelation. And for me, often Baba says, there is Baba's revelation, but there is the revelation of his children. And if I have this attitude of, you first and generosity, then it's really what can touch the people around us and make them really see that, oh, these are different people. They have something more because of that attitude of, because the world is showing such a different thing. Everyone wants, power and money, and so money, it's different things, but sometimes we want power. We just want to have a position. So to be able to really see that it's not going to take me anywhere, and it's not going to reveal Baba either. I always remember, when Didi and Morni left the body, the Bog message, I think it was the first one or one of the first Bog message was, it's not going to be one soul who is going to reveal the Father. And because everyone was thinking Didi is gone, and she was, the head, the co-head with Daddy Prakash Mani, but obviously, at that time it was difficult. So it's like, Baba just said, no, it's not one soul. It's going to be the family. So I think it's very much, how I can keep in mind what's going to really make me move forward, move ahead, and help others also to move ahead by letting them just, take their place. So Morni, there is another, in the same Murli, Baba is saying the Brahmin family means the gathering. And in the family, you are victorious in fulfilling the responsibility of love for the family. So this is also a speciality of faith. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, isn't that an interesting one? That faith in the family means that I have the responsibility to fulfill the love in the family. And Baba was saying, and this actually comes to the Morley just a few weeks ago, that, we have, Baba said, it's a big family, so we need big love. And we also need, for that, a big heart. So in order to fulfill the responsibility of the family, it means to really move together as one, because Baba says the family means a gathering. And so if we see ourselves as one, it's like whatever's happening to someone else, I'm also responsible. Like one time Baba said that that we need to be responsible for that whole, so to fulfill the responsibility means to really care. And I know we had a situation in Sydney when I was there. A sister had, she was so stressed because she was a student, and that stress led to some mental instability. And, really what came in my heart, everyone's busy, right, in a centre, but what came in my heart is she is my sister. If it was my Lokik sister, I would have the responsibility to do whatever I can to help in this situation. And so I took her to a hospital, and, that just was one step. It kept going on, there was it was a bit of a journey to help this sister. But finally she was willing to take some medication, and that really helped her to settle down. But I really felt that one of us is responsible, because we say we're a family. So if someone has a problem, we can't just say, oh, they've got a problem, let's try and keep them away because it's a disturbance, and we don't have time for disturbance. It can be a bit like that. But we really are a family, and I think we need to operate as that. But luckily, really, Baba's teaching helps us to be detached and loving. So we don't get involved. I loved what Sudesh Didi said the other day, that we don't get, a mirror doesn't get marks on it because of seeing, when I see the marks on myself, it doesn't go on the mirror. So as a mirror, I don't take things on, but I really do treat every BK as a family member. And I remember one time, there was a time when people used to say, many years ago, they used to say, it wouldn't matter if I left. No one would miss me. No one would really care. When I heard that, I thought, oh my gosh, is that how people feel in this family? And so I loved what Babu was saying the other day in the Sakar Muli. He was saying, take their hand, try to help them to come back, do what you can. But ultimately it's each one's fortune, so we can't make anyone stay, but at least they should feel that we care, that we're not just going to, oh, okay, where are they? I don't know, I haven't seen them for a few months. Not like that. Do what we can to love and care for each and every one. So I think this is what it means to be a family. So, Gopi. The Baba said in that Muli, and this was 14th of November, the family makes you strong in many situations. And I think that can be either way. Sometimes strong because we're tested a lot, and sometimes strong because we're supported a lot. So both sides. Everyone, and this sentence was amazing, everyone is an individual embodiment of dharana, number-wise. Everyone is an individual embodiment of dharana, of inculcation, number-wise. Understanding the variety of sanskars and interacting while being knowledgeful and fulfilling that responsibility is being successful. So again, it's coming back to that responsibility, but understanding the variety, accepting, it seems to imply, but knowing that it's all just making me stronger, whether it's this way or that way. What do you understand by this?
Actually, it has been my own experience to, I lived with sometimes many souls and sometimes on my own. Now I am alone in a center, when I was in Cambodia, I was alone in a center. So there's been situations where I was not physically close to the family. Because it was difficult to create Brahmins in those countries.
And you're a bit of a pioneer that keeps going and starting new places.
And sometimes I also lived in retreat places, and so with others, and also in centers with 4 or 5 people, and of course a family, and again, and interestingly, this point from the Muli, the day before I was journeying about this topic, and I thought, something I really have learned to do is to appreciate the variety in the Brahmin family and to really kind of appreciate the differences. We used to say when we were together in the beginning, said we would have never met if it was not, for Baba and Gyan. There was no way we would have met as, like in the normal life. In our normal life, like we were so far from each other, yeah. But suddenly Baba is putting all these souls together, and there is such a difference of many, many different things, not just sanskars, but also background and education, so many different things. And I think when I stop thinking I am right, or when I stop thinking having expectation, when I stop, judging, and that's where I can really appreciate the diversity. And I found in that diversity, I will have, everyone is an instrument for each other. And I don't like actually when, sometimes we say, oh, I have karma, or this is karma with this soul. And I never thought like that. I never think in terms of karma. I just think, okay, if something comes to me or someone, whether it's someone who is going to inspire me, like just you see someone doing things and you say, wow, or sometimes they just trigger, sanskar, or they just make us, react. In both ways, I am learning something. And so they are anyway instrument for me to understand something about myself. And if I am able to accept that, then somehow I will have an attitude of, kind of inclusion, rather than, comparing, judging, thinking, oh, this one or that one, or I cannot do anything with this one, or there are always ways, what I have learned living in a country where there was no BK, but it's like sometimes you actually develop really the qualities you need in the BK family, being outside of the BK family. And I think I really had that experience of doing so much for people who had nothing and who were suffering, and the land was suffering. Everyone, the place was very challenging. And I felt, it's like all these sanskars of benevolence, of generosity, of compassion were coming out, because it was just the way to serve the souls. And then I thought, if I am like this with people, can't I be that understanding with my own family, Brahmin family? And even though Baba said, you don't have mercy in the Brahmin family, but you cooperate. But sometimes you need a bit of, compassion, or you need something a bit different than cooperation when you see someone who is really going through something, and it's not really cooperation, they need something more than that. From our side, more understanding, more kind of listening skills even. So I found, it's really being able to acknowledge that aspect in the family. So I can really take the benefit and just focus on what I am learning for my own growth. Because there is nothing happens by chance. If I really trust, like I am on that path and Baba is always there. So whoever comes in front of me can really inspire me in one way or another. And what I found when it's someone who is actually really doing something which is out of track, or really like, temper or something really on the side of, we would think, it's just gone off or something. Then even that I found I can learn so much, because at least I know what I don't want to do or what I don't want to be. And I found sometimes people express something and they are just there to show me that this is something I don't want for myself. So I will actually pay attention to that. And sometimes it can help the other one to come out of their own, own issues. And sometimes no, but sometimes it does, because they feel that you actually have a different vision of them. So you somehow you can help them to come out. And so in a way, the aspect of, the variety and the fact that the family is making us strong, I think it's good to welcome anything, whether, it looks challenging or not. And I always found that, sometimes we think, but anyway, I had to do things on my own, and nothing is there to help me, and nobody is there to help me, And sometimes we need some help, and it did happen that, sometimes I needed help. And if I was expecting the help from specific souls, then often there would be, it would not happen. And I think that's also an aspect where the family, it's a big family. But why would I think that the help should come from this specific one or that specific one, or this one should actually be there or that one should be there? And again, it's a big trap, because when I start to think like that, that's where I start to look at, other people, and that's where often I start to think, oh, but nobody is helping me and nobody is there when I need. But actually, I don't see that these are not there maybe, but I have 10 people with me. And do I value that? Like Baba, I don't know everyone, but Baba knows everyone. So he will know who to touch, or, who is going to get the touching to just step in when the need is there. And that's where the faith is, in a way. Like, I don't need to think about specific souls. I just need to think of the family. And in terms of the family, if I am open, anyone can step in. And often, these are the ones I expect the less. So I have to be open to that. Not judge, because otherwise I will lose and I will not allow something to happen in a good way. And somehow it's like I will also stop the cooperation if I am not able to recognize where it's coming from. So it's quite that the relationship in the family is a deep thing in a way. And I need to really look at myself, because if there is lack of, if there is insatisfaction, probably because there is expectation. And I have to look at that in myself and recognize it, so I can be much more open, to what is this family about, and how, things happen in the family if I am actually open to it. Because it will be a flow. If I allow it, it will be a flow, and the help and everything will come.
Yeah, it's interesting how expectation makes us so limited and body conscious, and as if it's my job and people should cooperate with me. Yeah. But knowing that if it's Baba's job, it's up to him to get it done. He'll touch someone. It will work, or it's maybe not meant to be. Also letting go. But I liked another thing you said there about listening. Because I think one of the mistakes I have made in the early days is someone was really upset and saying very bad things about the yagya, the seniors, people in the yagya. And, I started to defend and kind of say, no, it's not like that. It's not my experience. And I learned that listening and just letting people feel what they feel, say what they say, acknowledging that this is their experience. It's not that you're agreeing, but this is their experience. And so being able to really listen with that empathy and being present is such an important thing in the family. Because, as I said, it's not that you agree, but when people can be heard, they release so much, tension and anger and so many things in their heart just by being heard. And that is a really big thing in bringing the family together. So yeah, listening, being present. And I know one time when I went through something, one of the biggest things I went to, I was in Madhuban, and I thought the seniors would give me some advice, or they never said anything. And I just felt that they just had faith in me, that I will pass through this. And it was like And in hindsight, they were probably thinking, yeah, these are all the lessons we passed through. And they didn't try to give advice. They didn't look at me as if I was going through something. There was so much faith in me. And that was a big lesson for me to then have towards others. Because I love very much this saying, angels don't worry about anyone. They have faith in them. And that's what I experienced from the seniors, that they didn't worry about me. I was going through something, but they weren't worried about me. I really felt their faith, and it was very quiet presence. Lovely.
And so, Morni, to move along with a big heart, knowing each one's sanskar, to move along with humility, with an attitude of good wishes and pure feeling, is to be victorious in your intellect, in having faith in the family. Have you had challenges on this?
Who hasn't? Yeah, and I think, if you think about it, I mean, even if I look back at the friends that have been with me in the beginning, hardly 5% of the people who started with me back nearly 50 years ago are still with Baba. Or they've gone and come back. Or they keep at a distance, but they now are okay. But I mean, really, it's... and it was never Baba. They've never left Baba, I would say. Very few of them lose faith. Very few of them don't remember Baba. They have faith in themselves to some extent. Drama is a big challenge. I think drama is another big one that's good to really think deeply about the faith. But most of the people who have left Baba is because of clashes within the family, not being able to move along with the family. I don't know. It's a big thing to move along with the family, especially if you come onto the field of service. If you just go to class, you've got your family at home, because a lot of people have come with their Lokik family, so they've got that support, and they don't have to change that much. They're even having cooking from their family. Life is easy if you come with your family. But what happened is most of these souls that I came on the journey with, they had no support from their family. Their family didn't become BKs. And so they had to cook their own food. They had to live with other people. They lived in bhavans. We had very often houses where brothers would live in one house, sisters live in another, or they'd come into centres. And we were all not very mature. Even the ones that were the centre coordinators didn't have that maturity to really understand the feelings of the hearts of others. And so we all went through a lot of tests. I went through a lot of tests, and I know that those souls have been through a lot of tests within the family. It wasn't always they were wrong, actually. There was a lot of things going on. But when we have, this, if we can develop this faith in the family, and Baba's saying through understanding the variety sanskars and keeping good wishes for each other, and I think at the back of all of that is not blaming. And I think that's one of the biggest steps any of us could make in our Brahman life, not to blame anyone for anything that we are going through, because it's our journey, it's our lesson. I've got something to do with it. It's not anyone's just doing it with me, whether it's karma or whether it's just for my growth. And I was thinking about those two powers that Baba spoke about in the Avyakt Muli on Sunday, the power to tolerate. He was saying that you especially need this power to tolerate, and the power to realize, the power of realization. And when I was thinking of this faith, yes, we need that power to tolerate, because this is my lesson, but the power of realization is to realize it's my lesson and not to blame the other person. And I think that's the biggest step in our Brahman life, is to move away from any kind of blame. Because if you're blaming others, you are never going to change. It just is a block, a complete block to any transformation, because you're saying, oh, they're doing that, they did this, circumstance like that, but it's pointing outwards. And so, yeah, I think through any challenges that we go through, keeping good wishes and understanding the variety sanskars is so essential. And also, we stop micromanaging others, because often we have expected others to do things the way we like things to be done. Whether it's even giving a meditation commentary. We listen to some people giving commentary, we think, oh, how can that touch anyone's heart? Or different ways people serve. And I find people respond to that just as they respond to the way I do things. We're all different, and we are different, and the people receiving are different. And things work. Like one brother, out of respect, he said to me, he did a group session once a week, and he said, do you want to take my group, because I happen to be visiting that city? And I said, I don't think so. I think they're your kind of people. You go ahead. Because he's a healer, and some people are really attracted to healing, and he's doing a great job with that group that I couldn't do. So when we actually celebrate the differences, not just tolerate, but celebrate the differences in the family, this is revealing Baba, because we're all so unique. Like even in this regional coordinating team, we have seniors like Miraben, Rajniben, they're stepping up to be, didis, and many people need didis. But I don't see myself like that. I see myself as empowering the people next to me. I don't see myself like stepping into Didi Nirmala's shoes, for example. It's not, what I feel is me, but I can encourage and empower people alongside me. But people need all those. People need didis, people need companions. We all just do it in our own way, and then we can serve a variety of souls with our variety of sanskars. So, I think you must be the next one to get a question. Together with this is also from the Muli, of just a few weeks ago, and it is, together with being loved by God, it's extremely essential to be loved by the family. There are 4 faiths: faith in Baba, self, drama, and the family. Are all these 4 faiths essential, or just 3? Baba asked. How can we be loved by the family? That's a big question, isn't it?
I think
how can we be loved by the family?
I remember it was once Baba said, I think it was to Daddy Janki, and he said to her, it's not like you would have 100% who are going to actually, love you, but probably 95. And, we know how to be loved, obviously it's not something we ask for, because it will be the last thing which would happen. But when I was sharing, how from the beginning I really had developed these good wishes, and I have to say that, it's like when you actually practice something for a long period of time, and it's really part of your dharma to pay attention to that. and you don't know exactly the impact it has. You just, it's in you. You just create, you have that attitude of keeping good wishes, of not keeping anything about anyone in the back of your mind. But what I found by doing that for a long period of time, whenever somehow, whenever I needed something, which did happen a few times, being, sometimes sent on my own somewhere, and there would be always the help. And I was thinking, how come the help is coming from the other side of the world? But then I thought, what happened is that somehow this attitude is actually drawing the help. And for me, if we speak about love, the way Baba loves us is by actually, he's not, of course he says he loves us, but it's by making sure we actually have what we need, and make sure that, things are good for everyone. And so this is Baba's love to actually, really, and in the sense, I think we do have that faith that Baba is going to provide whatever we need. So in a way, if there is one value which doesn't change, is God's, what God can do for us and with us. So that's why the faith in Baba, I think, is definitely, as the first, Baba was talking about it as the first aspect, of faith. I think we can see why, because we do have that faith in ourselves. And then when it comes to the faith in the self, that's probably the biggest the biggest part, because even having faith in the family, it can only happen if I do have faith in myself. Often the lack of faith in the family is because I have doubt in myself, about myself. Otherwise, it's actually quite, it comes together when I have that, faith in myself and in my own truth, and also my uniqueness, like to really realize who am I as a unique soul with these specialities, and being able to really acknowledge those specialities and have that faith that this is, the reason why Baba has chosen me as well. So more I know myself in that sense, more I understand who I am, and acknowledge, who is this soul with the good and the bad and with all the everything. Like I learned to really have this inclusive attitude towards my own, personality, and then somehow the faith in the family is stronger. And I think somehow to be loved by the family is really to give love to the family first. If I have that love for, souls, and I respect wherever they are and wherever they are going through, to somehow not judge it, but just maybe be there when it's needed, or just be not there if it's not the thing to do. But I found, it's just the way, more I give and more I receive. So love is the same. More I have this attitude, loving attitude towards others, more they will somehow respond to that. And so, yeah, in a way, I think it's these are no calculation here. We can't just say, you it's just a bargaining. You give me love, and there is love. No, it just happened because there is a recognition of the souls, and to give respect, to give love, give cooperation, and do the service together. So I think that's what brings the love. And I have to say, at times where when I was in Cambodia, I was always surprised that I could get so much help from different places because I was quite isolated. The country was kind of, it was really isolated, and I didn't have much means, so I couldn't just travel, and just take, some refreshment here and there, in the sense spiritually speaking, and so it was like, but there was always somebody, there was always, like Baba would touch someone, and so at that time I really felt maybe this is also because of the good wishes, and so even if we don't do things, we don't calculate why we are making certain effort. But I think it's good to keep in mind that whatever effort I make, or whatever, focus I have, it's not for nothing. Because sometimes we don't see the results, so we think, we get discouraged. But actually, everything is, on the accounting book. On the good karma and also the elevated karma more than even the good karma. So I really, if I keep in mind that to always, be in that, to go in the direction of developing, more and more values, virtues in ourselves, and being more in the attitude of giving towards others, then it won't be lost. It will just make things happen more. And again, we are talking about revealing Baba. And for me, like when I was living in Cambodia, the underground was so, the values people had was so low. Everything was based on corruption, but in a very open way. Corruption is everywhere, but here it was like really.
सतयुग में अब तुम्हें आना है धाम में तुम्हें गाना है
So just to finish this example, so from the beginning, I was really aware, being arriving in this country, that the first step was actually to be an example. The words wouldn't do anything. I had to really be like, we speak about walk your talk, and I just felt this is what I have to be, and the rest will happen only if I am able to really be that. So it was a very good example for me of how, in the end of the day, it's really what we are, which is going to reveal Baba. And if we are together, in that diversity, that's because we know it's a challenge, but if we are able to live together in this way, then, the revelation would definitely come. Do you want to add something about love?
No.
So, then that's it. And in that Murli, the same Murli we are talking about, Baba is asking Morni, where would you go if you left the family?
Exactly. Where would you go? And I think even before I came to Baba, Baba said, I had already decided there's nothing in this world. I was 21. There was nothing in this world, so I was just going to move to the country, live on a farm and raise goats and sell goat's milk. So probably I'd do that. Because there's nothing in this world. I already felt that at such a young age, that there's nothing in this world. And also the other thought that would sometimes come seeing my friends go was, it's a battlefield. Whether we're here or whether we're outside, it's a battlefield. It's not like you have challenges here and then you go outside and there's no challenges, right? It's not going to be any less. It'll be just different. And this is the winning side. So I'm not leaving the winning side. I know, that's my faith too, I guess, that this is the winning side. So if I'm going to do all this effort to battle, because we do have all these things we have to work on, I'm going to stick with the winning side. So I'm not going anywhere. But there's nowhere to go. And for you, where would you go? Did you ever think of leaving Baba?
No. I obviously, I went through a lot of things because, starting young, and sometimes you have not experienced things. And, I'm talking about living in the West, working full-time, running the center. And it's kind of, I spent the first 18 years in a very big washing machine. And so sometimes I would sit and I would say, no, that's it, because it was not being BK which was it. It was just, I don't want to live like that. Like, I know something which is amazing, and I can't even share it. I work full time, so I didn't have the space, the time. The students come, you can't even take care of them. You have to rush to go to work. You come back, it's 8 o'clock in the night. And then, the whole thing was really, for all these years, was kind of, what do I do with, the things that Baba is giving me? And I can't even share them because I am just exhausted by the end of the day.
Can you all relate to that?
So, and that's somehow, when drama, and I said, no, I think I have something more to do. So I did quit like everything in a way, and I went to Daddy Janki and I said, I think I have somewhere else to go. And so she thought I just needed to make a little step in the country next door. I said, no, Daddy, I think I need something more. So I started to kind of move, from from
Kuwait.
France to
Kuwait and
well, first
Morocco
it was Istanbul. So
yeah.
I first went to Turkey, and at that time Anthony and Yogesh and Aruna was there as well. But it's like somehow I think we also have to listen to ourselves, and of course I wouldn't go anywhere else, but I need to be happy where I am as well. Like I can't just say, and I feel, it's really, there is nothing worse than feeling stuck. I don't know what you think about it, but
so you
do you feel
offered-
stuck sometimes? Yeah. So
you
when you feel
offered
stuck,
yourself. When you felt stuck, you offered yourself.
yeah, somehow I thought, yeah. And I think when we feel stuck, it's like, I mean, it needs courage to say, I have to do, I have something else to do, because obviously I will have to let go, and sometimes of a big piece of cake. But this is also, what do I want in my life in the end of the day as a Brahmin, and so because we all have different qualities, obviously we will be pushed, I think, to do the things which are going to help us to grow, with these specialities and these qualities. And drama may take us to places where we never thought about, but it's going to be the best way to really kind of become stronger in our own, uniqueness and do Baba's service according to those specialities. So, but of course we need courage. So, not going anywhere else, but just sometimes we need to push ourselves a bit. So we can
That's
keep
a
on
whole
going.
another topic, isn't it? But now it's time to finish
to wrap up.
Yeah. But that is another topic, when you feel stuck, what is that stage, and what are we called to do? To put up with it, to get through it, or to have courage and do something different? Yeah.
So thank you both of you, Sister Morni and Sister Gopi. It was very beautiful. I think both of them had such rich experiences and shed so much light on the topic. And we all as a family are also sure you both are not living. yeah. And I think you'll not be taking care of the goats because you're vegan too. yeah.
No, that's right.
But, yeah, that's a lighter note.
So I can't even go and do that?
Yes. So you have to stay with Baba. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you. Shanti.
All I've ever waited for. You brought back a memory of tender love and so much more. A love without words, without a touch, just lost in your eyes. A love from soul to the very core of my heart. 'Cause you are everything to me. You're all I've ever waited for. Open up my memory, lead me to your heaven's door. I've waited for so very long.